The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It is August 1973, where five young adults, Aaron, Kemper, Morgan, Andy, and Pepper, are on their way to a Leonard Skinner concert after coming back from Mexico. As they drive through rural Travis County, Texas, they see a distraught hitchhiker who eventually gets in their van. After trying to speak to the hitchhiker, who speaks incoherently about a bad man, she shoots and kills herself with a pistol. The group decides to contact the police, in which they drive up to a rural country store where the elderly clerk tells them that the sheriff is at the mill. The group drives over to the mill, where instead of the sheriff, they find a little boy named Jedediah, who tells them that the sheriff is drinking at home. Aaron and Kemper go through the woods to find his house, leaving the other three at the mill with the boy. They come to a large plantation house where Aaron is allowed inside by the owner, an amputee with both of his legs gone, named Monty Hewitt, to phone for help. When Aaron finishes, the semi-sinister old man asks her for help, using the opportunity to fondle her without her noticing. Kemper goes inside to look for Aaron and is killed with a sledgehammer to the back by Thomas Hewitt, known as Leatherface, who drags his dead body through a large steel door to the basement. Aaron arrives and finds that Kemper is still missing. Andy and Aaron go back to Monty's house, where Aaron distracts him while Andy searches for Kemper. Monty realizes Andy is inside and summons Leatherface, who attacks him with his chainsaw. Aaron escapes and heads toward the woods, but Leatherface cuts Andy's left leg off as he is running through the backyard. Leatherface carries him to the basement and hangs him on a meat hook with his feet hanging over a piano, where he rubs salt on Andy's stump of a leg before wrapping it in butcher paper and tying it with human hair. Aaron makes it back to the abandoned mill and tries to escape in the van, but Sheriff Hoyt shows up and, after finding drug, orders Aaron, Morgan, and Pepper out of the van. The sheriff gives Morgan the gun he took from the hitchhiker and tells Morgan to reenact how she killed herself. Morgan, scared and disturbed by the sheriff's demeanor, attempts to shoot the sheriff only to find the gun is unloaded. Sheriff Hoyt handcuffs Morgan and takes him to the Hewitt house, leaving the girls in the van where they are attacked by Leatherface. Pepper runs but is cut in half by Leatherface's chainsaw. Aaron also sees that Leatherface is wearing Kemper's face over his own. He begins to chase Aaron in the woods with his large chainsaw buzzing. Meanwhile, Aaron manages to escape from Leatherface and hides in a nearby trailer with two women inside, who offer her tea and try to soothe her. The two women, a morbidly obese middle-aged woman known only as the Tea Lady, and a younger woman named Henrietta, whom is presumably her daughter, act strange. After they tell Aaron that they don't have a phone for her to call for help, a telephone in the trailer rings, and Henrietta picks it up and tells someone on the other end that she's here. Aaron discovers they have kidnapped a child when she sees that the baby with them is the same child in a photograph with the woman who committed suicide earlier in the kid's van. However, the tea is drugged and she passes out when she tries to leave. Aaron wakes up at the Hewitt house surrounded by the entire crazed and murderous Hewitt family. Thomas Leatherface Hewitt, his mother Luda May, Sheriff Hoyt, whom is actually Leatherface's cousin, Monty, Leatherface's uncle, and the little boy Jedediah. Luda May tells Aaron that her excuse for her son Thomas's actions was that her son was tormented by teenagers during his upbringing while working in the closed-down slaughterhouse, and that she felt no one cared for her family beside themselves. Aaron is taken to the basement, where she finds Andy. She tries to help him off of the meat hook, but when he sees he will land on the piano keys and alert Leatherface, he begs her to kill him, which she does, though suffers severe emotional trauma. She finds Morgan, still handcuffed, and Jedediah leads them out of the house. Jedediah rejects Aaron's plea to come with them and distracts Leatherface long enough for them to escape. Aaron and Morgan find an abandoned house in the woods and barricade themselves inside. Leatherface breaks in and discovers Aaron, but Morgan attacks Leatherface, causing him to drop his chainsaw. Morgan grabs Leatherface and wrestles him, but Leatherface is too heavy and easily lifts Morgan upwards onto a chandelier, and Morgan gets tangled in the chandelier by his handcuffs. Aaron runs out of the shack and escapes through the woods. Leatherface trips and cuts his leg while pursuing her. Aaron finds a slaughterhouse and hides in a locker. Leatherface opens the locker across from hers and she attacks him with a meat cleaver and chops off his right arm. As it begins to rain, Aaron runs outside and flags down a trucker whom she tries to convince to go away from the Hewitt's house, but he stops to find help at the eatery. Aaron sees Luda May and watches as Sheriff Hoyt arrives and talks to the trucker. Aaron sees Henrietta watching over the kidnapped baby in a high chair. When Henrietta walks outside to join Luda May and Sheriff Hoyt, whom are talking to the truck driver, Aaron sneaks the baby out of the eatery and hotwires the sheriff's car before running him over repeatedly until he is dead. Leatherface appears in the road and tries to stop her, but Aaron and the baby escape unharmed.